The phone rang at exactly 10:47 on a rainy Thursday night. I remember the time because I had just looked at the old clock hanging beside my back door. My right knee had been aching all day, so I'd carried a mug of hot coffee onto the porch instead of going to bed. Rain tapped steadily against the metal roof, and the porch light threw a warm circle across the wet wooden steps. I almost let the call go to voicemail. My daughter, Laura, hardly ever called that late. When I answered, all I heard was breathing, then a whisper, "Dad." Something in her voice made every hair on my neck stand up. I left him. I didn't speak right away. In 33 years of raising my daughter, I'd learned there were moments when silence gave a frightened person room to breathe. Then another sound came through the phone. A loud bang, someone pounding on a door. "Laura," I said quietly. "I'm in the bathroom at a gas station." She sounded like she was trying not to cry. "He's outside." Another bang, then a man's voice shouted through the door. "Laura, come on, stop being dramatic, Derek." I had only met him a handful of times, but I'd never liked the way he smiled. Too polished, too practiced, like every expression had been rehearsed in front of a mirror. "Dad," she whispered again, "I don't know what to do." "You locked the door?" "Yes." "Good." Another hard slam rattled the bathroom door. "Listen to me." My voice stayed calm even though my heart was pounding. "Keep your phone against your ear. Take one slow breath." She tried, it came out shaky. Another one. Outside, Derek's voice softened. "Laura, sweetheart, you're embarrassing yourself." No answer. "I know you're in there." Another pause, then he laughed. "We'll laugh about this tomorrow." I closed my eyes for a second. That wasn't the laugh of a man trying to fix an argument. It was the laugh of someone who believed he already owned the ending. "Where are you?" I asked. "The pilot station on Highway 321 in Maryville." "I know exactly where you are." I stood up, nearly spilling my coffee. "You stay in that bathroom." "What if he comes in?" "He won't." "You don't know that." "I know this." I grabbed my truck keys from the table beside the porch swing. "I'm on my way." My old Toyota Tacoma had almost 200,000 miles on it. The windshield wiper squeaked every few passes and the heater took forever to warm up. My late wife, Carol, used to tease me that I'd keep driving it until the wheels fell off. As I backed out of the driveway, I glanced at the empty rocking chair beside mine. The porch light stayed on. It had stayed on every night since Carol died 6 years earlier. She used to say, "Leave it burning. You never know who might need to find their way home." Laura stayed on the phone almost the whole drive. Sometimes neither of us spoke. I could hear Derek packing outside the bathroom, sometimes knocking, sometimes pretending to leave. Then she'd hear footsteps again. "He keeps saying he's sorry," she whispered. "Do you believe him?" "No." "Then don't open that door." "I should have left months ago." "You should have left the first time he made you afraid." Silence, then she quietly said, "I know." 27 minutes later, I pulled into the gas station. The rain had eased into a light drizzle. Derek stood outside the building with his hands in his jacket pockets. He looked exactly like the kind of man who wanted strangers to think he was reasonable. Nice haircut, clean boots, relaxed smile. When he spotted my truck, that smile widened. I climbed out slowly. My knee protested the moment I put weight on it. Growing older teaches you to hide pain from people looking for weakness. Derek walked toward me. "Mr. Carter." I didn't answer. He stopped a few feet away. "I appreciate you coming." Still nothing. He gestured toward the convenience store. "This is really just a misunderstanding between me and Laura." I looked past him toward the bathroom hallway, then I looked back at him. Not anymore. His smile tightened for the first time. "Sir, couples argue, they do. And sometimes people overreact, they do. So maybe you could convince her to come out." "No." He blinked. "No. No." For several seconds, neither of us moved. Cars pulled in for gas. A woman hurried inside carrying a little boy wearing dinosaur pajamas. Ordinary life kept moving while my daughter's world had nearly come apart inside a locked bathroom. Derek leaned closer. "I love your daughter." I looked him straight in the eye. "Then why is she hiding from you?" He didn't answer. Instead, he smiled again, smaller this time, like he was filing my face away somewhere. "I think you've misunderstood me." "I don't." The bathroom door opened. Laura stepped out slowly. She looked exhausted. Mascara streaked beneath her eyes. She carried only her purse, nothing else. For one terrible second, she looked like the little girl who used to wake from nightmares and walk barefoot into my bedroom. She saw me. Everything she'd been holding together finally cracked. She crossed the floor in 3 quick steps and wrapped both arms around me. "I'm sorry," she whispered. I hugged her back. "You have nothing to apologize for." Derek took 1 step forward. "Laura." She flinched. That tiny movement told me more than 1,000 words ever could. I shifted slightly so I stood between them. Derek noticed. His expression stayed pleasant. His eyes didn't. "You'll regret this," he said softly enough that only I could hear. "It isn't too late." I opened the passenger door of the Tacoma. "Get in, sweetheart." Laura climbed inside without looking back. Derek remained standing in the rain. He didn't yell, didn't threaten, didn't chase the truck. He simply watched us leave. Somehow that unsettled me even more. Halfway home, Laura finally spoke. "I thought I could fix him." "You can't fix someone who doesn't think they're broken." She stared out the window. "I didn't tell you because I was embarrassed." I nodded. "I know. I thought you'd think I was stupid." I reached across the console and squeezed her hand. "You made it out. That's what matters tonight." When we turned onto my gravel driveway, the porch light was still glowing through the rain. Laura smiled faintly. "Mom always left it on." She did. As soon as we stepped onto the porch, Laura's phone buzzed. One new message, unknown number. She opened it before I could stop her. "You just signed your family's death warrant." She froze. I took the phone gently from her hand. For several seconds, I simply stared at the words. Then I looked up at the porch light Carol had asked me never to turn off. The rain kept falling. Somewhere out in the darkness, Derek already believed fear belonged to him. He had no idea that patience had belonged to me for a very long time. By morning, the rain had moved east and left the yard smelling like wet leaves and red clay. Laura slept in the guest room. I didn't sleep much at all. I sat at the kitchen table with my reading glasses low on my nose, her phone beside my coffee cup, and a yellow legal pad in front of me. Old habits don't retire just because a man does. At 6:15, Laura walked in wearing one of Carol's old sweatshirts. "You kept that?" she asked. "It was in the hall closet." She sat across from me. For a while, neither of us said anything. Finally, Laura looked at the legal pad. "You're writing it down." "Yes." "Dad, I don't want this to become some big thing." I took off my glasses. "Sweetheart, a man sent you a death threat. It already became something." She looked away, and that's when I saw shame settle over her shoulders. Not fear exactly. Shame. I hated Derek for that more than the message. "He didn't start like this," she said. "They never do." She rubbed her thumb along the edge of the coffee mug. "At first he was sweet. He brought lunch to school for me, sent flowers, remembered tiny things I said. He made me feel seen." I nodded. That part mattered. People like Derek didn't begin with a locked bathroom door. They began with roses, apologies, soft voices, and just enough kindness to make the cruelty feel like weather. He said my friends were jealous. Then he wanted my passwords because couples shouldn't have secrets. She gave a small, bitter laugh. "I teach kids how to recognize unhealthy relationships, Dad, and I still missed it." "No," I said, "you didn't miss it. He moved the line 1 inch at a time." That made her cry, not loudly, just 2 tears she wiped away fast. "He checked my bank account. He'd ask why I spent $12 at Panera, why I bought gas in Knoxville instead of Maryville. I stayed still. There are times a father wants to roar, but if you roar too soon, your child may stop telling the truth. He made me think I was dramatic. He'd say, "Your dad spoiled you. That's why you don't understand real love." My hand tightened around my coffee cup. Laura noticed. "Please don't be mad." "I'm not mad at you. I should have told you. You're telling me now." She leaned back. "I don't even know who I am right now." I waited. Then I said something I hadn't planned to say that morning. "I know men like Derek." Laura looked at me. I was a U.S. Marshal for 31 years. The kitchen went very quiet. She blinked. "I thought you worked courthouse security." "I did sometimes, and prisoner transport, that too." She stared at me. "You never told me." "Your mother knew." "Mom knew." "Of course she knew." Laura sat back hard. "All this time." "I didn't want that work sitting at our dinner table." She looked confused, almost hurt. "I wasn't some movie character," I said. "Mostly paperwork, warrants, interviews, waiting, watching, knowing when not to move." Laura swallowed. "Did you deal with men like him?" "Yes." The answer came out heavier than I wanted. "Men like him don't want love, they want ownership. And when ownership slips, they call it betrayal." She wrapped both hands around her mug. "What do we do?" "We do not play his game." Her phone buzzed on the table. A photo came through. Laura's school parking lot taken from across the street. Her face went pale. The caption read, "Pretty easy place to find." She pushed away from the table. "I can't go to work." "You can." "No, Dad, he knows where I." "Laura," she stopped. "You can go to work when it's safe. Today we make it safe." By 9:00, I had called Deputy Aaron Pike. He stood in my driveway looking at the text messages on Laura's phone. "I'm taking this seriously," he said. "I figured you would." He glanced at me. "But I'm not cutting corners because it's you, Ray. I'd be disappointed if you did." Laura stood beside me. Aaron softened his voice. "Miss Carter, save everything. Don't respond. Don't delete. If he shows up here, you call 911, you understand?" She nodded. "Good." Then he looked toward the porch. "You got cameras." "Not enough." "Well, today would be a good day to change that." By lunchtime, my older brother Cal showed up with a toolbox, 2 lawn chairs, and a sack of barbecue sandwiches. Cal moved like a man assembled from spare parts, but he could still fix almost anything with a socket wrench and a dirty joke. Denise Walker came over from next door. She was 59, a retired 911 dispatcher, and the kind of woman who could hear panic through a dial tone. She carried a notebook, a thermos, and the expression of somebody who had already made 3 lists. For the next 2 hours, my yard became a quiet operation. Cal mounted cameras. Denise checked angles. I walked the property line. Laura followed me once. "You really think he'll come here?" she asked. "I think he wants you to think he can." "That's not an answer." "No," I said, "but it's the truth." That evening we ate sandwiches on the porch. Cal told a story about dropping a transmission on his boot in 1987. Denise laughed. Laura almost did for a few minutes. Derek didn't own the air around us. The night came. The porch light clicked on and everybody got quiet. The next morning I opened the front door just after sunrise. A cold mist sat low over the yard. Then something near the top porch step caught the light. Small, silver. I bent down slowly, my knee burning. It was a necklace, a thin silver chain with a tiny round pendant. I knew it immediately. I had given it to Laura the day she graduated college. I picked it up with 2 fingers. The clasp was broken. Behind me, Laura said, "Dad." She saw the necklace in my hand. All the color drained from her face. Derek had been at my house. Not yelling, not knocking, not making a scene. just close enough to leave a message on my porch. The anatomy of a bully is simple. He tests a boundary. Then he waits to see who is afraid to enforce it. By 8 that morning, Denise had the porch footage pulled up on her laptop. At 2:13 in the morning, a dark sedan rolled slowly past my driveway. It disappeared for half a minute, then came back with the headlights off. A figure stepped out near the mailbox, hood up, face turned down. He walked up the porch steps, placed something near the door, and stood there. For almost 10 seconds, he stared at my front door. Then he left. Cal stopped chewing. That's not a man trying to get his girlfriend back. No, I said, it's a man building pressure. Laura looked at me. What does that mean? It means he wants you scared enough to run back before he has to do anything louder. I spent the rest of the morning searching public records, court filings, old addresses. At 11:40, a name surfaced. Marissa Cole, a dismissed protective order petition from 4 years earlier. Dismissed didn't mean false. Sometimes dismissed just meant scared. By late afternoon, we had a phone number. Marissa didn't answer the first call or the second. At 6:03, she texted, "Who is this?" I wrote back carefully, "My name is Raymond Carter. My daughter recently left Derek. Your name appeared in a public court filing. If you're willing to speak, it may help keep my daughter safe." The phone buzzed. "Is she safe right now?" I looked at Laura. "She wants to know if you're safe." Laura nodded. I replied, "Yes, she is with me." The next message came almost immediately. "Meet tomorrow, Smoky Mountain Diner, 10:00 a.m. Bring another woman. I don't meet strange men alone." The Smoky Mountain Diner smelled like bacon grease, coffee, and old vinyl booths. Marissa Cole arrived 7 minutes late. She was a thin woman in her early 40s with tired eyes and a green raincoat buttoned all the way to her throat. "Which one is Laura?" Laura raised her hand slightly. Marissa looked at her for a long second, then her face changed. Not pity, recognition. "Did he take your phone yet?" she asked. Laura's eyes filled. "He tried." Marissa nodded. For a while, we let her lead. "He's wonderful at first," she said. "Then he starts correcting your life, your clothes, your friends, your family." She told us Derek had done the same thing to her. Gifts, apologies, tears, promises, then isolation, then threats. "I filed for protection," she said. "Then I withdrew it." "Why?" Laura asked. Marissa's hand tightened around the spoon. "He sent me a picture of my dog in the backyard. Then he sent me a picture of my mother walking into church." Marissa reached across the table and put one hand over Laura's. "You're not crazy. That's the first thing you need to hear." That night Derek drove past my house again, slow, bold. His headlights swept across Laura's bedroom window and held there a second too long. I stood in the dark living room. Every old instinct wanted me to step outside, but that was exactly what he wanted, a reaction. So I stayed where I was. I knew the shape of his plan now. He was telling people I was dangerous. He wanted me angry first. So I sat down and saved one more video file. At 11:18, Laura's phone lit up. A video. It showed her earlier that day outside the school office crying beside her car. The message underneath read, "She still needs me. Tomorrow I'm coming to bring her home." I looked toward the porch. The light was already on. "Then tomorrow," I said, "he can meet everyone." The next evening, every light on my porch was on before the sun had fully disappeared. Cal carried 2 folding chairs out. Denise adjusted her cameras. Laura stepped outside carrying sweet tea. At 7:42, Deputy Aaron Pike parked half a block away. At 8:16, headlights appeared, a dark sedan. Derek stepped onto the pavement. His phone was already in his hand, held upright. Recording. He started walking toward the porch, still smiling, still filming. "Laura." She didn't respond. "I just came to talk." Derek reached the bottom step. He turned his phone slightly. "Look at this," he said loudly. "Her father actually organized an ambush." Nobody moved. Cal raised one hand. Son, I've had knee replacement surgery that scared me more than you. Derek ignored him. His attention returned to me. Mr. Carter, you've been telling lies about me. No. You've been contacting people. Yes. Trying to destroy my reputation. No, I've been collecting facts. Laura stood up. You need to leave. Derek ignored her. You're making her afraid. I answered slowly. No, she was already afraid. Derek climbed the first porch step. I just want 5 minutes. No. He climbed another step. I deserve to explain. No. A third step. You can't keep her from me. My voice stayed calm. Derek, you can leave tonight as a free man, or you can stay here and let every person watching record you ruining your own life. For the first time, his confidence slipped. He recovered quickly. You think you've trapped me. Derek took one more step. His foot crossed the edge of my porch. I stood slowly. You are now trespassing. He laughed, really. You've been asked to leave. He lifted his phone closer to my face. This crazy old man threatening me. Deputy Pike started walking toward us. Evening. Derek turned. Deputy, perfect timing. Aaron stopped at the foot of the porch. I've been here. Derek smiled. I told you nobody would believe you. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out another phone. I recorded Raymond Carter threatening me 2 days ago. Aaron extended his hand. I'll listen. Derek handed him the phone with complete confidence. I didn't move. Cal glanced at me. You okay? Yes. You don't seem worried. When a man believes he's already won, he usually stops checking for the truth. Aaron pressed play. The porch fell completely silent, static, a car door closing, then my voice. I'll handle you my way. The recording continued. You've pushed this far enough. Another pause. You won't like what happens next. Derek's smile widened. I told you. Aaron looked at me. Ray. I nodded once. That's my voice. Derek spread his hands. I've been trying to stay away from him. He's the one threatening me. Aaron looked at me again. You want to respond? I do. I reached into my shirt pocket and pulled out a small flash drive. My copy. Derek frowned. What is that? I handed it to Denise. She connected it to her laptop. Within seconds, the same conversation appeared on the screen. Aaron stepped closer. So this is the original. Derek folded his arms. Anybody can edit a file. Denise looked up. So can you. The conversation began. The first few seconds sounded exactly like Derek's version. Then something happened. Instead of ending where Derek's recording stopped, the conversation kept going. Derek's voice became much clearer. Go ahead, say something angry. Silence. Then again, come on, old man, tell me what you're really thinking. My voice answered calmly. I'm thinking you should leave my property. Derek laughed. No, that's boring. Another few seconds. Say you'll handle me. Finally, I answered. I'll handle you my way. But this time, everyone heard the next sentence. My way means every camera, every report, and every legal option available. The difference was obvious. Derek had removed every sentence that explained the first half. Aaron looked at him. You forgot to trim that part. Derek swallowed. I don't know what that means. You presented edited evidence. Just then, another car pulled up. Linda Matthews, the principal at Laura's elementary school, walked up carrying a folder. Mr. Mao came to our school 3 different times after Laura asked him not to. She handed Aaron photographs. Another car stopped. Marissa climbed out. I'd like to make a statement. Derek took a step backward. Marissa saw it. You remember me? No, her voice was steady. I made that mistake once already. Aaron stepped forward. Derek Malloy, based on what I've seen tonight, I'm placing you under arrest pending charges related to criminal trespass, harassment, intimidation, and possible evidence tampering. Derek's face turned pale. You can't be serious." Aaron turned him around and placed him in handcuffs. Laura quietly began to cry, not because Derek was being arrested, because for the first time in a long time, she wasn't wondering whether anyone would believe her. As Aaron guided Derek toward the patrol car, Derek looked back at me one last time. His smile returned, smaller now, more desperate. "This isn't over." The patrol car door closed. Its taillights disappeared down the street. 2 weeks later, a thick envelope arrived from a law office in Knoxville, a civil demand letter. Derek intended to sue me for harassment, emotional distress, and defamation. Laura's shoulders sank. Oh no. I read the last page, then I folded the letter neatly. Cal looked at me. "You going to worry now?" I couldn't help smiling. "No." "Why not?" "Because he finally put everything in writing." 3 weeks later, I stood outside the courthouse with Laura beside me. She looked nervous, not frightened anymore. Fear makes you want to run. Nerves mean you're staying. "You okay?" I asked. She nodded. "I think so." "You only have to tell the truth." She took a slow breath. "I can do that." Derek arrived in a dark gray suit. Appearances had always been his strongest weapon. He spotted us. For a second, I expected another smug smile. Instead, he simply adjusted his tie and walked inside. The hearing lasted nearly 3 hours. Denise testified. Aaron testified. Marissa described Derek's pattern. Finally, Laura's name was called. She walked to the witness stand alone. Her hands trembled when she took the oath, but once she began speaking, her voice steadied. Near the end, our attorney asked one final question. "Miss Carter, what changed?" She thought about it for several seconds. Then she smiled through tears. "I realized leaving wasn't the hardest part. The hardest part was believing someone would believe me." She looked toward me, then back at the judge. "I'm not afraid to tell the truth anymore." The judge found the evidence of repeated harassment, intimidation, unwanted surveillance, and manipulated recordings credible. Derek was ordered to have no direct or indirect contact with Laura. Additional criminal proceedings would continue separately. Derek lowered his head. For the first time since I'd met him, he looked like a man who had run out of stories. The following Saturday, we replaced the loose railing on my front porch. Cal supervised. Denise rolled her eyes. Laura laughed. For the first time in months, the laughter sounded completely normal. As we tightened the last bolt, I leaned against the porch post. Laura noticed. "You should let me finish. I've still got a few good years left." She smiled. "I know." I looked at the porch light above us. "I can't fight every battle for you anymore." She shook her head. "I don't need you to." "No. You already taught me how." I reached over and squeezed her shoulder. "Just promise me one thing." "What?" "When life gets dark." She glanced up at the porch light. "Leave the light on." I smiled. "Exactly." That evening, after everyone had gone home, I carried 2 glasses of sweet tea onto the porch. One for me. One that I quietly sat beside Carol's empty rocking chair. The crickets sang. The porch light glowed over the steps just as it had every evening since my wife asked me never to turn it off. For a long time, I thought protecting the people I loved meant standing in front of danger. Now I understand that sometimes it means standing beside them until they're strong enough to stand on their own. The phone rang at 10:47 on a rainy Thursday night. My daughter called from a gas station bathroom. Her boyfriend was pounding on the door. I drove through the rain to bring her home, and I left the porch light on just in case anyone else needed to find their way back.